Today on Outside the Box Reviews, hey, what the heck are you doing? Hey, no. Hey, no. Ah, crap. Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the NECA Gremlins 2, the new batch, Spider Gremlin. This has probably been one of the longest promised / teased figures that NECA has ever talked about. This thing had prototypes showing off for years. It was talked about for years back when the Gremlins line first kind of got going. And of course, it was too big to do. It was too expensive. The Gremlin line has had a history of not selling all that well. So it's constantly been kind of put on the back burner. And at one point, I believe it was actually officially canceled. But 2013 being the year that it was with NECA and getting a few other special released high-end pieces that were not a standard retail release, NECA stepped up their game and released this guy. So let's take a look at the Spider Gremlin. As you saw at the beginning of the video, he comes with his spider serum. So it's just the jar, the spider on it, says flammable down here. Looks like it's full of blue liquid. Very, very cool looking piece, similar to the acid beaker we got with the Phantom Gremlin. We also get a display stand, something that's very hard to notice when the figure's there. It's a black base with a clear peg going up the middle. This comes apart if you want it to. The Spider Gremlin is not really meant to stand on its own 8 legs, so this is a necessary piece, not really much of an accessory. And what we have here is an enormous figure. The body itself is a decent size. It's pretty much what you'd expect. The upper body of a gremlin kind of centaured onto the lower body of a spider, but the legs are so long and just really take up a lot of room with this guy. I would definitely advise, if you were planning to add this to your collection, make sure you have the room for him because he is a shelf hog. Obviously you can kind of weave things in and out between his legs or something for display, but yeah, he's gonna be a dominant piece on the shelf. The sculpt on here is very, very cool looking. It's the Mohawk Gremlin, the main baddie from Gremlins 2. I guess you could argue that Brain is also the main baddie, but Mohawk more so. He basically is Gremlin 2's version of Stripe, and the sculpt on him is phenomenal. He's got that kind of upturned lip there. You can see the teeth inside. He's got the fin underneath the jaw, as well as his, of course, Mohawk here up on top. My Mohawk is a little warped from packaging, but I think a little hot air from a blow dryer might sort that right out. It actually doesn't look too bad. Ears have great detail on them. The eyes are super sinister looking. He has spikes coming off the side of his head. A very good touch for a gremlin. Coming down, we have his chest. His chest is actually a little scrawny compared to some of the other gremlins. Not by a lot, but it kind of indents here at the side under the pectoral muscles and kind of just makes him look a little more monstrous, honestly. He's got a good ring of spikes up around the upper arm. His arms are pretty much what you'd expect with a gremlin. I did review several of these guys back in October for my Halloween reviews. So if you watch any of those, you kind of know what you're getting into here. He does have a nice ridge, kind of like his Mohawk coming down his arm here. And both hands are sculpted in kind of a grasping motion so that he could hold the beaker with either hand fairly easily. Coming back to the rest of his body, you can see the rest of the Mohawk down the back, and then it morphs into this disgusting spider mode. And the paint detail on this is just great. This transition looks fairly seamless. I thought it would kind of look like they glued a gremlin onto a spider, but it really does look as organic as this could possibly look. There's lots of ridges and bumps and spikes and just amazing, amazing detail here. Turn him up on his end, you could see a little more of that. Just very cool. If you come back here to his stinger, you could see how much detail went into this thing. Just so cool looking. Flip him around to his underside, you could see the hole where the stand peg's in. He's got these little claw-like things here in the bottom, his spikes. I'm sure that's probably some part on a spider that I'm neglecting to think of what it does, but in the rest of that back end there, you could see the back of his body. I guess would that be the stinger or spinnerets? I guess spiders don't really have stingers normally. Maybe it's the spinnerets back there. But very cool looking. And then of course you could see the legs branching out from here. We basically get two different kinds of legs. The front legs on here are shorter and they come in 2 pieces, all of them. The main joint here is connected to the body originally, and then you get the extra part peg in, which is a very difficult ball joint to get in there, but you can see there's nice spots on there, a dark green color, some spikes up here at the joint, and then the spiky looking foot coming down. These front ones are shorter. The 6 ones in back get an extra midsection joint here, so a little extra bit of leg on this spider back here. Very, very well done. I think NECA has knocked it out of the park on this sculpt. And this figure isn't lacking when it comes to articulation either. His head is on dual ball joints. There's one at the top of his neck, and the neck itself has its own ball joint at the bottom. So you can get a great range up and down, side to side on him, twisted every which way. The jaw is articulated, so you could open up, revealing a great gruesome little tongue in there. Very, very cool. Though my jaw does seem to like to pop off. It just has 2 little balls at the back of it that peg into the rest of the head, and it kind of likes to separate, so that's a bit of a bummer, but nothing that's too big of a problem. I was kind of hoping the ears would articulate. They kind of look like they would, but no luck there either. The shoulder has a standard pin and socket, so you can go in and out, also rotate forward and back. You can bend and swivel at the elbow, rotate at the wrist, and actually there is a hinge at the wrist, which is unique to this gremlin. None of the other ones have had that so far. Down here where the gremlin body connects to the spider, there is a ab crunch, so you can go forward and back there. Then his hind section back here is on a ball joint as well, so you can go up and down. You could rotate it, go side to side with it. It's a nice little extra bit of articulation. Then every leg connects to the body at a ball joint, so you have a decent range of motion there. As I mentioned, the front legs only have this one joint, so you can go and ball joint it at the single joint, and all the other legs have 2 joints where you can move them. And it gives you a huge range of posability. You can move these legs a billion different directions. So for a quick size comparison, here is the spider next to the brown gremlin. So you can see he towers over brown. And then I could barely even get both spider and Gizmo into the same frame here because he's so big and Gizmo is very, very short. But that's a rough size comparison there as well. And there we have the Spider Gremlin. A figure so wide that I had a hell of a time keeping it on my display here. I think there's been a little bit of the wall behind it visible in pretty much every shot I've done here, and hopefully it hasn't been too blurry, but it's just nearly impossible to film with my current setup. I redid my backdrop to do 12-inch figures, and this guy is not nearly as tall, but the width and the depth of him makes it very, very hard to get him all on camera. But this is a phenomenal piece. This is something I was super excited to buy. Actually, the night of Christmas, after I'd opened all my presents and everything, and I'd gotten a few gift cards, this was the first thing I went and purchased for myself because I knew I absolutely had to have him. I got mine from Entertainment Earth. It was the best option at the time I was ordering because these guys were just starting to come in stock. He actually was in stock with them, and he wasn't at Big Bad Toy Store at the time, and they did have a pretty good price for him. Since then, I actually did find him in my local FYE. So if you have one near you that does stock action figures, I know there are levels to FYE figure collecting. You may actually be able to pick him up at there or even at your local comic book store. Depending on the shop, they might get him in as well. But when it comes to my verdict on this is a high recommend. As I said in my earlier reviews of Gremlin figures, I'm a little lukewarm on the line. Some of them are must-haves for me, some of them are just meh, they're okay. I pick up the ones I like, I leave the ones I don't, but this has made me really excited about collecting Gremlins. I feel like this makes me more inclined to pick up future releases that come out, and makes me really hope the Gremlin line continues going at least at a decent strength so NECA keeps putting more out. The only problem with this figure is it makes me really sad that I was broke the one time my local Toys R Us carried the Combat Gizmo because I don't have him, and he's obviously the perfect companion piece to this Gremlin, and he goes for ridiculous prices if you can find him online. I haven't even been able to find him on eBay lately. Maybe because the Spider Gremlin's out, you never know. But the other plus side with this thing is it gives me hope that maybe we'll get a Bat Gremlin. One of my other favorite designs from the movie. I would love to see that happen. Obviously, it would probably have to be a deluxe figure like this, but I'd be down for it. Make sure you check out Outside the Box Reviews on Facebook. There'll be a link below. Also, check out Outside the Box Reviews on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. I've been having a lot of fun taking pictures of this guy, and I know at least one of them is going to end up on there. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. And if your computer starts acting up or your smartphone's not playing these videos right, turn on all the bright lights because you never can tell There just might be a gremlin in your house. Mine is a little warped from the packaging, but I think a little hot water or a blow... Oops.